Hi, Fruity Cuties. What's up? My name is Jeanette, also known as Ms.FitVegan. Today we're going to interview Dr. Will Tuttle, and we're just going to wait for him to join the live, and then I'm going to bring him in, and we're going to talk about the great supplement scam. What's up, boo? What's up, Fruity Cuties? Today we're going to get into it. Let me tell you, I'm so excited because there's a lot of trickery going around the internet and the world, and Will Tuttle is here. Ooh, perfect. And we got to get the truth out somehow, so we're going to get into it today. And Will Tuttle is a very important person in my life. He's really inspired me. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. It's raining here in Miami, so I got my umbrella. Oh, hi. Oh,
All
hi,
right.
Will. Okay, perfect. Wow. All right. Thank you so much for joining me.
I'm
I
delighted
was,
to be here. Thanks. Thanks so much for doing what you're doing.
of course, I was just showing everyone my umbrella. It's raining here, so I got a little umbrella for
Uh-huh.
the rain. Somebody gave this to me the other day. It was so cute. Now, Will Tuttle is the author of course, The World's Peace Diet and his new book, Food for Freedom. Two books that you need. You need. I mean, the World Peace Diet changed my life, so thank you very much for that. And Will, tell us now, how long have you been vegan?
45 years now. Yeah, since
Oh,
1980. All right. So
oh boy.
45 fabulous years. Gets better every day. For sure.
45 years, so longer than I've been alive. So I'm 40. So 45 years. So how old are you now?
72. Yeah.
You look amazing. You look amazing. You know,
Oh,
you're one
thank
of
you.
those vegans, you're a plant exclusive vegan that nobody ever talks about when they talk about how bad vegans look. You know, they never mention you. They never like to mention you. So I really,
No, it's really great. And my wonderful wife, Madeleine, too. She's been a vegan just as long. And she's 77, actually. And nobody never
oh,
would ever imagine.
I,
So, you want
I
to say
met
hi,
her in
Madeleine?
person.
This is her right here. She's
Ah,
here. Here she is.
Hello.
Yeah,
hi.
Hi.
so we're
Hi.
I can't. Oh my God, you look 50. I can't believe it.
yeah,
Wow.
great organic
Wow.
vegan food. Yeah,
hmm
How
maybe
long
I
have you been vegan, Madeline?
Same?
about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since early '80s.
Yeah.
So
Amazing. I love it. Okay. So thank you so
So
much.
we
So,
see each other soon,
uh,
next year. Hmm?
in August, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Good. I'm looking
yes.
forward.
Me too. Me
Okay.
too.
Have a good
Okay.
day.
Bye. So yes, Dr. Will Tuttle will be at the Woodstock Fruit Festival 2026. We're so honored to have you back, and it's going to be amazing. And guys, if you want to come, you can send me a DM. I'll send you the link, and you'll see Will Tuttle there and me. Maybe you'll work out with me. Maybe Will come to one of my workouts, watermelon workouts. Maybe
right.
you have no excuse now. You live in California, so maybe
It's
you'll get
right.
up.
It's Mandala Springs is only 15 minutes away from where I live.
Okay,
It's like
so
literally like right on the mountain. I can see it over there. You know, it's right here.
that's why we did it. We did it
So
because we
it's
want you
great.
to be
Yeah,
there.
it's right.
So now we talking about the great supplement scam. I have interviewed a lot of long-term raw vegans and plant-based, plant-exclusive vegans, and I'm really grateful to have you because you are someone who's not taking supplements. Have you ever taken supplements?
You know, when I first went vegan back in 1980, no one knew anything about B12 or whatever, you know. So I went to probably the first maybe 15 or 20 years, no, just eating food, you know, plant-based foods like just vegetables, fruits, grains, nuts, seeds, whatever. And I didn't eat processed foods. I mean, maybe I had some tofu, but it was really just eating food. And then people started coming into I got very active in the animal rights movement and veganism. And so then I started going to all these lectures where people would talk about how important it is to have supplements. You have to have B12, you have to have this and that and the other, and omega-3. And but I was always skeptical of those things. mainly because I have a background in spiritual healing. So I thought if I'm eating properly, I'm in a divine, beautiful universe. God didn't set this thing up like you have to go and buy pills if you're eating a healthy diet. So I will say, though, there was, since the B12 was so, branded so strongly, I did take B12 for a while, various forms of methylcobalamin, little thing under the tongue once a week or whatever. But then it was interesting, since the World Peace Diet was translated into so many languages, I've had a wonderful opportunity to travel all over the world and really talk to a lot of people in China, India, Asia, Africa, the Middle East, all over Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe. And I ran into people, in all these, as Madeleine and I traveled, who questioned these things. And so I remember meeting people in Switzerland and other places who said, don't ever believe you need B12. You don't need B12, And this was like probably 10 years ago. So we tapered off on that because of that, and just, basically not thinking that we needed any supplements. And so we eat whole food organic. We feel like, and we grow a lot of our own food. I could maybe even walk out and show you. We have 80 fruit and nut trees that we planted ourselves right here.
Wow.
And so we get a lot of our food, we grow it ourselves, and we build up the soil ourselves. We recycle our own biological waste and kitchen waste, and everything goes back into the soil. It all goes back into the trees and all the fruits and veggies we're getting. So we're just being proactive in building up the soil with minerals and alfalfa dust and so forth, and effective microorganisms and our own compost. And we've been doing it now for 12 years. And so we get a lot of the food right here. And then we also have a local farmers market where local farmers have organic produce that they produce. So we buy some of that sometimes. And then we're on the road about 5 months of the year. And about 2 months of that, we're at Hippocrates Health Institute in West Palm Beach, which is all organic, all raw organic. So I just don't feel, I feel like we get plenty of nutrients. And I've also have not been to a doctor in 50 years.
Oh, wow.
So I've never had a test. People say, well, what about your cholesterol? Don't you have a cholesterol test? Don't you have a blood test? Don't you have a test? I don't want to know. I don't want to have these tests because I just think as soon as I go into one of these places, there's all these underlying assumptions about the nature of reality that are contrary to my views. It's basically like they see you as just die with a sort of this biochemical thing, and that your body is a battleground for invasive germs, and that you're never going to survive without some kind of chemicals that they want to sell you that will somehow reinforce your poor little weak immune system. And I just don't believe any of that. So I don't even go in there and one of the things I've realized is that when they've done some of these tests, blood tests and things on really healthy elderly people, like in their hundreds, and they test their blood, like in Okinawa and other places, and they go, oh my gosh, their levels are terrible. But here they are, they're living to be 110, 120 or whatever, and they're doing fine. And so I think, a lot of this stuff is, it's not that they're bad people, it's just there's a system in place. And I have a PhD, from University of California, Berkeley, and I took courses in quantitative research methodologies, qualitative research methodologies. I've really taken a deep dive into science and scientific research, and most people have never done that. But through that work, I understand that it's like a club. You develop a capacity to do research, and you got to get grants, and the grants come from the government when they want you to study certain things. They want you to study the effects of climate change, or they want you to study the effects of viruses, whatever it is that's been approved to go along with the official narrative. And you need to pay the rent, you need to send your kids to college. So you go ahead and you believe in it. They believe in the whole thing, but it's a whole house of cards that's based on underlying assumptions that I think work very well to keep money rolling into the system, have people dependent and really addicted to a narrative of victimization. Like we're victims of our bodies, we're victim of the environment, nature's out to get us, this whole thing. And it works great. I mean, you have a situation where when I was a kid, the rate of chronic disease was only 6% back in like 1960. And now today it has hit 70%. Chronic illness has just hit 70%. That means 70% of the American in the United States are on some kind of medication like on a daily basis. So this is a massive amount of money that is flowing into the pharmaceutical medical complex, and they know how to use that money, and because wealth translates directly into narrative control. You have money, you can control the narrative. You can buy the media, you can buy Hollywood and the films, you can buy governmental agencies, you can buy congressmen, you can buy education, academia, buy the whole thing. It's all up for sale. If you have enough money, you can create NGOs and nonprofit organizations that are
What's
really
an NGO?
Non-governmental organization. And these are powerful, like Gavi and CEPI and all these organizations that basically they act like they're just scientific, benevolent organizations, but there's people underlying them, like the Rockefellers and the Gateses and a lot of other huge wealthy foundations that are invested in the pharmaceutical industry, and they're invested in the weapons industry, and they're invested in the chemical industry and the petroleum industry. And so the whole thing has been established and developed for decades, and the narrative is controlled. And so the foods that people are eating when they go to a grocery store, they're eating chemicals, and then they're told that they need to inject chemicals and take more chemicals. It's all petroleum. It's all petroleum chemicals. You refine petroleum, you get petrochemicals. There's over 80,000 petrochemicals that have been invented that were never here on planet Earth. And so those are carcinogenic. They disrupt our hormones. They disrupt our reproductive organs. They disrupt our nervous system. They do all these things. And so now we need pharmaceuticals. So you just basically refine the petrochemicals one more step, and you have pharmaceuticals. And you have people eating them. And then some of the pharmaceuticals, I mean, they're all harmful, but some of the petrochemicals, besides pharmaceuticals, they refine them into vitamins, into vitamin pills. And so people take them every day, right? And so people don't realize, I don't think, that these so-called vitamins that, again, seem so benevolent, really, there's nothing like that in nature. You don't just pop it, taking a pill, and it's usually a chemicalized version of something that they've somehow, through their so-called science, think that we have to have. And a lot of this stuff is just made up. It's not really, it just sort of passes on. I know, I got a PhD. To get a PhD, like in biochemistry or whatever it is, it's like joining a club. You got to prove that you will think like them. And you have to write, and you have to do it. And then you have your oral exams at the end. We all go into a room together. I mean, I've been through this ritual, and it's very intense, and it's terrifying for people. And you go in, and they all grill you on all, and if you don't do it right, you don't pass, and you don't get to join the club. But if you do it right, you say everything you're supposed to say, then they shake your hand, and they say, now you have your PhD. And that opens up a lot of doorways. But you have to pay a price. And I luckily had already gone through being a Zen Buddhist monk, and I was able to kind of play the game and get my degree, but I never really got so damaged by it. I think like a lot of people do. And I didn't really need to make my living at it, so I was more free.
And
but
that's the difference.
They don't have that freedom. They need the financial, they need the money, and so they go along. And so the system just rolls on. It just rolls on, and people believe whatever's in the media, whatever the doctor tells them, whatever the health professionals tell them. So I think we need to come back to consciousness, to our consciousness, and realize that we're really building our body with our mind primarily, and then if we have healthy fuel that is part of it, that's essential, but it should be based on organic is really important because pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides are just devastating to the microbiome in our body and to the soils and everything, and whole foods and yeah, as raw and natural as possible. That's basically it. And when we do that, and then also I have a new book, actually, this one,
Oh,
The World Peace Way. And the World Peace Way, it says 6 keys to health and harmony for all. So this goes into how to actually thrive and be healthy.
when did that come out?
That just came out a few months ago. It's really new.
Wow, I'm gonna get it today. Wow,
Yeah.
The World Peace Way. Is it on, it's on Amazon?
Amazon, and I'm just finishing up the audiobook right now, but
Ooh,
it's
that's so
available.
exciting. Okay, so I'll leave the link below to all 3 books now. And okay, so Will, you already like helped us to clarify why we're so confused, because I'm going to ask you about the top 10 supplements that vegans are told they need. And you already helped me so much to understand it's because of all the money that has been funding the media and all the science, the reports and the the literature, everything is tied into the
Total.
money. Follow the money. That's why we don't know what to eat and we're confused about all these supplements. So thank you
Right.
for that. So let me now ask you, I need to start with B12. Now I'm on a big B12 thing. I just interviewed Anthea yesterday. Um, I think you have read this book. I
I
think
have.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, she mentions you in the book, how you were so helpful to her, and you're a big mentor of hers. What are your thoughts on B12, and do you worry about your B12, and where do you get your B12?
Right. So yeah, and I read her book, and like I said, I had already given up B12 when I read the book, but now what we do is we don't just not take it. We like make sure there isn't any added because they add B12 to everything, and so it's like we get some nutritional yeast, and it's organic with no B12 added because a lot of nutritional
Unfortified.
unfortified. Yeah, we buy
Right.
unfortified vitamin B12, for example. Madeleine knows how to get that online. So we think it's really a good idea to just stay out of that whole thing. Not only not take B12, but try to stay away from foods that are fortified with B12 because she makes I think a really good case in there. I mean, can certainly read the book, but I think she makes a good case that this is really a substance that was invented in a Merck laboratory and or discovered as part of a bigger operation, and where they started just coming up with vitamin B8, 9, 10. Well, make B11, make it 12, B12. Okay, and they kind of do that, and then they got this whole thing that if you don't have B12, vitamin B12, then there's like this endless array of terrible things that will happen to you. And I think a lot of what's been happening in our society is that people are poisoned by chemicals, and then they're damaged by that. But then the government narrative is that it's a B12, some kind of a deficiency. So I think we have to be careful of those things. And so so that's my feeling about B12 is it's not really uh, anything that's needed. It's weird, of course. She makes the point over and over again that there's this one vitamin B12, that's not in any vegetables or fruits. Right? It's the only one
The only one.
you have to eat meat or dairy to get it. Something like and like why is that? Why do we have this one thing that you have to eat meat? It's and even she goes into how some of the prominent vegetarians use that as a hammer to hit people that you better have your dairy against vegans. And so I think it's been politicized quite a bit, and a lot of people still say, well, God wasn't, we weren't meant to be eating vegan because of B12. That's the reason right there that we shouldn't be doing it, which I think is an illusion. it's being used as a way to keep people sick. Because I think the last thing they want is people like me and you and Madeleine who never, don't go to the doctor, don't buy drugs, don't go through all these things. If we had, many more like us, then the whole system would collapse. And so they got to make sure that that doesn't happen. So the main way is fear. You make people afraid, and then they'll go along with whatever the agenda is. And I think a lot of people in the vegan movement, especially doctors and nutritionists, have been too gullible, really. I think too willing to believe whatever they've been told by the establishment. And I was raised in the media. My father owned a whole chain of newspapers, and so I learned to not trust the media just because I was in it. I could see how you can't run an article that the advertisers don't like. And who are the big advertisers? The pharmaceutical industry, the petroleum industry, the chemical industry, the fast food industry, these huge, and the bankers in the background that run everything. So it's really
so you got a behind the scenes of the media.
They are. And so
yeah.
This whole thing, so the last thing they want is people who are strong, confident, healthy, critical thinkers, who are comfortable and happy. Those are hard to control people. They want people who are kind of low on energy, confused, trying to can barely get out of bed. Those people are easy slaves. They'll kind of do what they're told. They'll pay their taxes. They'll do a job they're supposed to do, and they won't ask questions. And so they promote foods that cause us to be sick or to have brain fog. Like animal foods cause brain fog, and they cause aggression, and they just concentrate toxins. I mean, they're high in the food chain, so there's a lot of toxins in animal food. So eating low in the food chain, eating whole, organic, plant-based foods, and then thinking independently. And so the 6 keys in my book are, besides nutrition, and staying away from toxic sunscreens and cleaning things. I mean, there's so many things you got to look into with that. But also, a regular spiritual practice is number 2. Number 3 is healthy relationships. Number 4 is movement and exercise. And number 5 is a really healthy relationship with nature. And number 6 is being creative and having a purpose for our life. And the first one is nutrition. Nutrition in the big picture: what we're eating, what we're drinking, what we're breathing, what we're wearing, the media we take in. This is huge. All those things we have to be conscious and mindful of. And if we are, we can take responsibility for our health. And that means questioning the official narrative. So like you said, so B12 is like one of the main things we're programmed to our detriment, I think, to be taking and to be afraid of. And it makes a lot of people sick, I think. They eat meat and dairy because they think they need B12, or they take these supplements, which are, I think our body has to fight hard to kind of get them out. They're like a toxic thing we have to clean out.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from, I'm not even halfway through the book. I learned a lot about B12. It's it's cyanide, and it's in the name,
Right.
Cyanocobalamin. They're telling us, and
Right.
I heard Dr. Clapper talk about this, and other plant-based doctors talk about how there is a little cyanide, but it's not enough to kill you. It's fine. It's like they're telling us that there's poison, and we're still taking it. So I have a quick question. Why do you think we're so gullible as humans, as a race, as a species?
There's 2 reasons. One is we're tribal, and so we're very sensitive to subtle cues from the people in our tribe, the people in our community, and we don't want to go against it. We don't want to be left out. We don't want to be rejected. To be rejected in a tribal situation is like you die by yourself. They leave you alone, and so we want to fit in. People really want to fit in and have everybody like them at kind of a primordial level. So I think that's one of the reasons. And then the other reason is we're born into an indoctrination system that's really intense. The indoctrination system today, I mean, first of all, like when I was a kid, I only had to take, I think, 3 or 4 vaccines. Now kids are getting like 70 vaccines. So their nervous system is
Oh my
getting
God.
just destroyed, I think. I mean, really harmed. And with all those toxins coming in when they're only days and weeks and months old. And so already the pineal gland, for example, which is really our connection with our inner wisdom, gets attacked, calcified. Fluoride in the water is well known to make people more docile, to calcify the pineal gland, which is really one of our spiritual connections in between the physical body and the spiritual being that we are. So I think there's a direct assault on us through the media, through the educational system, through the chemicals that come into us through not only the food and the water, but through so-called medications and fluoride in the water, and probably chemtrails as well, just coming down from the sky. So we're being targeted. I think that's the other thing. So besides being tribal, we're being targeted
Yeah.
with things that reduce our capacity. And then the other thing is the media. There's a great book by Dr. Nels in Germany about how the hypothalamus, which is really the part of our brain where we have our autobiographical memory, where we basically have our identity and our memory of ourself and who we are, and that only holds a certain amount. And when it gets flooded, like over COVID for 4 or 5 years, especially the first 3 years, we were being flooded with fear-based narratives through the media, and that overwhelms the hypothalamus. And when that happens, people lose themselves. They will then begin to believe whatever's being told. That the hypothalamus is being deliberately overwhelmed by the media, especially whenever there's an emergency. Like we have now, we have the climate emergency. Everybody's talking about, whenever any little rainstorm comes, it's because of climate change. Whatever, it's like it's the same thing. It's like they did with COVID. It's to get people to overwhelm the hypothalamus and get us afraid. So we have to understand that. We just have to understand that we don't have to be afraid. We don't have to even be. We shouldn't be neurotic about it. Just say, okay, look, there's some crazy people who want to control us, but we're not going to play that game. But that takes our vibrational level to rise to a certain level so that we're not pulled down. So that's why having really good high vibrational food is so important, and not partaking of gossip and conversations that bring our energy down. It's really important to stay positive, to see the beauty around us, the beauty within us, to take time to be silent and connect with our spiritual true nature, the core of our being beyond thinking. That's why every morning Madeleine and I spend about 2.5 hours in meditation and silence before we do anything, because that's really the foundation of everything, is our consciousness. And when we keep our vibration high, then all of these fear-based things, they don't get their claws into us. But if our vibration is low and we're eating foods that bring us down, and then we start getting attracted to horror movies and to horror news and all this stuff, and pretty soon we start believing this stuff. And then if we believe it, if we start taking it, if we start letting it in, people allow themselves to get vaccinated, maybe allow themselves to get medicated in certain ways. All those things are toxic. They really harm us physically. And then we have symptoms. The symptoms are just the body trying to cleanse all that stuff. And then we treat the symptoms with even more things, and it just gets even more, our body gets more and more toxified. So the whole system has been set up this way, and you can trace it back to the Rockefellers and the Flexner Report, and how they kind of took over the medical establishment back in the 1910s and 20s and 30s with a system based on patent medicines that they could patent them and charge a lot of money for them. And then the government got involved, and now people take it through Medicare and Medicaid, and they don't have to pay that much, but these companies get so rich and they use that money to keep the thing going. So that's the situation.
Yeah, okay. So wait, can I clarify? So no blood tests in over 50 years. So how do you know that you're healthy? And I'm asking these as a, devil's advocate here. How do you know you're healthy if you don't get a blood test?
Well, nobody, nobody ever got a blood test. And I think they were probably a lot healthier than we are now. I mean, um, I know I'm healthy because of how happy I am and how I can run around. And in fact, I did that test. I don't know, maybe you've heard of it from the Don't Die thing. It's to see your biological age. So it's
Oh,
seven tests that they kind of determine the age of your body. So like how long you can stand on one foot with your eyes closed is one of them.
I want to do this.
How many consecutive push-ups you can do is one. How flexible you are, like when you sit on the floor with your legs extended, if you can reach your toes or a little beyond or not that far. That's number 3. Number 4 is your reaction time. There's an app where you can see how quick your reflexes are. There's one where you just take the ratio between your waist and your height in inches. There's one where you have to see if you can sit down on the floor and get up without using your hands, or if you have to use one hand or two hands, if you can do that. So I did all that stuff, and I checked my biological age as a result. Oh, another one is this, one of these things. This measures your grip strength, how strong your grip is. So, so I have a grip strength of over like 105 pounds. And anyway, my biological age is 22.
Stop it.
So yeah, so that's that's one little thing.
Oh
But the
my
fact is,
God.
the reason I know I'm healthy. I mean, also, I have Madeline and I have been traveling for 35 years, giving lectures all over the United States and worldwide, over 4,000 lectures. I've never missed one. We've traveled all over China, Asia, Africa, the Middle East, Europe, everywhere. People said you can never do that, doing, one or two or three lectures every day on trains and buses and planes and everything. We've never missed one lecture. We've never gotten sick anywhere. I don't get sick. I mean, how do I know I'm healthy? I mean, we live our lives and we never miss anything. And
Yeah.
and I can hug people all day that are sick,
Yeah.
and I never catch anything. I mean, all day when we go out on tour, we're giving lectures, and afterwards everybody wants to say hi, sign a book, give me a hug, have a picture taken with us, and whatever. And they're coughing and sneezing, and
Yeah.
I'm not worried. I'm not going to catch anything from anybody. This whole
Yeah.
idea of contagion is a
Yep.
total joke. There's no such thing as contagion. There's mind viruses. People believe something, and then they but I think the contagion goes the other way too. If we're really happy and healthy, then we make other people happy and healthy. So
Yep.
that's the kind of contagion I believe in. But I
I
think that's how it is. I don't need to have a cholesterol test or a blood test done. I just don't have any reason to do it.
I will never forget. Yeah, I will never forget. I used to run restaurants in New York, raw vegan restaurants, and there was a point in the winter, 10 years ago or something, where everybody was sick. All of my staff members were sick, and I was the only one that wasn't sick. So everybody was calling out, and I had to, come in, stay late, get up early, constantly, fill in for people. And everyone was like, "How come you're not?" And I was, of course, the only one that was vegan, plant exclusive. And yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So you are 50 years younger than your age, and that was a perfect answer. Thank you very much, because people out there, they don't seem to know if they're healthy unless they get these blood tests. All right, the next question, do we have to ask where you get your protein? I mean, people are still asking me in 2025. I'm sure they're asking you. So what do you say to people? Where do you get your protein?
I don't really think about protein anymore. I think in the early days, I was thinking I better have some nuts and have some this and that, things that are high protein, some legumes maybe, and seeds, sunflower seeds, all these different things. At this point, we just eat food, and we have a walnut tree. We get lots of walnuts. We have an almond tree, and sunflower seeds and hemp seeds and things like that. We just kind of include some of those things in. with our meals, and we have lots of vegetables. Vegetables are high in protein. I mean, we know that. Greens, especially. We grow a lot of sweet potatoes. We eat tons of sweet potato greens. I mean, they're so
Wow.
prolific. I mean, these green, like whole walls of greens. Every day
Wow.
we have greens in our smoothies. We have greens steamed, whatever. We're just eating massive amount of greens because they just grow like mad. So we're learning as we go. But
Yeah.
I think the main thing we need is carbohydrates. Really, I mean, carbohydrates are what give us the energy to live. Proteins are rebuilding. It's good to have some, but most people are in the hospital because they have excess protein. I mean, they're getting too much. Your body has to metabolize all that protein, and especially animal protein, which is huge. It's very acid forming. It's very large molecules that are hard for us to break down. So it's a low protein, high complex carbohydrate diet has been pretty much shown to be the foundation for longevity and health. And that's kind of what we do. We don't buy protein foods really at all.
Yeah. May I ask about your, so you have walnut and almond trees, and may I ask about the process of like harvesting them? Is it difficult? How do you consume these nuts?
Yeah, it's not difficult. I mean, we have like on the walnut tree is great, and now we've planted two more, but the main big one it gets so many that we're in a race with the raccoons. That's the main problem. The raccoons are up there, and so we can't just let them completely, because what they would normally do is if you leave them in the tree, then there's a big heavy green shell around them, and that will kind of fall off, and then you have just the little brown nuts that then you have to open. And so in the first couple of years, we could just wait until that happened and pick them up. But now the raccoons are up in the tree, and they eat through the green thing, and then they eat through that, and they actually get them.
Wow.
So I've got to get up there and get them while they're still green. And then we've got to wait. I've got to get the green thing off, and then we have a place where we just keep them cool over the winter. And then in the spring, we crack them open, and then and then we soak them, and then we hang them and let them dry. So we kind of, it's not really sprouting them, but we let them kind of we do that process, and they're much more easily metabolized than when we do
Hmm.
that. So it really works great. And the same thing with the almonds. I mean, the almonds come down, and there's a green covering over them. We take that off, and then you have the actual almond nut. Then you crack that open, and then you have the almond. So they both have a two-step process. There's the outer green covering, and then there's the nut itself in there. You got to crack that open, and then you have the actual.
Do you
Uh,
think these are human foods, the nuts? And I ask because I'm curious your opinion, because the raccoons, they can eat them raw. They somehow can do it, right? They somehow can get the green off, they get to crack it. They don't need any tools. They don't need to dehydrate or hang it. Do
yeah.
you think it's for humans? I mean, I know we can eat them, but do you think it's human food?
I do, yeah, because they're very easy. I mean, they're not
Okay.
hard. I mean, I don't know about Brazil nuts are hard,
Yeah.
but these are, yeah, they're not hard. You can just like you put two walnuts together, you just squeeze them in your hand.
Wow.
That'll crack them.
I
It's
never
not
had
hard.
fresh from the tree ever. Wow.
Oh yeah, they're great. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I
Wow.
mean, I can show you. Let me see. I think we have. Well, we have time. I have down. Let's see. This is. I'll show you. This is our.
Thank you
We
so
just
much.
if I can see. These are some persimmons we just got yesterday, actually. I don't know if you can see them. I'm not very good at this,
Whoa, yeah, we
but
can
look at
see.
this.
Oh
Look at
my
this. I
gosh.
mean, we have 500. I mean, I don't know if you can see them all, but we have, and we have in the other room, we have a lot more. Can you see those?
What was that?
That's persimmons.
Oh my
They're
gosh.
right now. They're not. I had to take them down because of the raccoons, but they will get. Every one of them will get
Wow.
completely, beautifully soft. Am I showing it? I'm not sure if I'm
Yep,
showing
we
it.
can see. Oh my God, what a dream.
But anyway, we got
Wow.
hundreds. We got so many of these, and we'll eat them.
That's
We'll
the
eat them all.
dream. Wow, that's the dream.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
like these
yes.
are these are some of the walnuts. This is what This is after you've seen this, but this is um. Let's see. Does that
Uh-huh,
show? Yeah, it
yes.
kind of shows. I'm not very
Okay,
good at
cool. No,
doing
no,
that.
that's perfect. We see it.
Yeah.
Wow, wow,
So
wow.
um. Yeah, these are some more. These are goji berries. Can you see the goji berries?
Yes.
These are goji
Wow.
berries, more persimmon. Grapefruits. We have a grapefruit tree. It's now starting to give us
Wow.
grapefruits. These are pomegranates.
I'm just doing some pomegranate.
Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, Madeline's doing pomegranate here.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah,
This is the dream.
Trying to make
Wow.
we have so many trees. We have so much.
Okay, so your B12 you don't worry about, your protein you don't worry about. There's some plant-based doctors saying that vegans need to worry about omegas. The vegans are not getting enough omegas. Certainly the raw vegans are not. What are your thoughts on omega fatty acid? Do you worry about it? We know you don't supplement, but do you worry at all?
Will,
Um,
you come,
I oh wait, Madeline says.
come and make juice. I just learned this online. Look,
Oh, she wants to show you this.
Yes,
I
please.
peel this and now I put it, I made a little hole.
Oh, now
Oh,
she's
genius.
juicing the pomegranates.
Oh, that's
Wow.
genius because no dishes. You don't have to clean the juicer.
Right.
Oh, that's genius. Fresh
Like
pomegranate juice from the
milking the
farm.
cow. Milking the pomegranate cow.
Oh,
No, to answer your question about the omega threes, what we do basically is we eat those flax seeds and chia seeds and hemp seeds in our smoothie every morning in our green smoothie, which is mainly just greens and apples from our trees
okay.
and other things, and we put those in, and those have got plenty of omega threes. So I don't think there's any issue.
Well,
With
you're 22, so I guess we solved that. You got the biological age of a 22-year-old, so we solved that. You're not deficient in omegas. Iron. Have you ever had? Do you worry about your iron? Where do you get your iron?
well, iron is not difficult. I think for vegans, I mean, for vegans, iron is no problem. The people that have a problem with iron are vegetarians because they eat a lot of cheese and dairy, and there's no iron in that. But iron is very bioavailable in greens, right? So if you're eating greens, you're getting iron, plenty of iron, and so I think, yeah, that's never been an issue at all with green. We eat a lot of greens. I mean, we have so many greens, besides, yeah, green vegetables and greens, they're rich in
Yes.
iron, so
Do
that's not a
you
problem.
do you take sea moss? Do you take seaweed? Do you eat it for health purposes?
We don't buy a lot of seaweed. When we're at Hippocrates for 2 months, it's right out there, so I have it every day, like twice a day. But we don't really buy sea vegetables that much. I mean, I pretty much eat whatever Madeline puts out, So, and she's just
Yes.
not used to doing sea vegetables. But I think sometimes we have them, but it's not. I think they're good. I mean, I think it's a good thing. It's just not something, we grow our own food here, and we don't really bother with that at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, specific questions on anything at all, put it down below. We'll ask Will Tuttle. I will ask him. I want to know about, well, I mean, you don't take any supplements, so I mean, it's hard to, you don't believe in supplements, right? Like, is there any supplement that vitamin D3, would you ever, do you, do you worry about vitamin D3? I mean, you have a very healthy skin tone, you look like you get enough sun, but have you ever worried about it? Would you ever recommend anyone take a D3 supplement?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. I think we get a lot of sun. Oh my gosh, look at this. I'm getting,
Oh, wow, that's gorgeous.
Just with a plastic bag.
wow, that's really powerful.
Wow. That's
Mm,
genius, guys. We don't need to
man,
juice
that
it.
is so good.
Wow, wow, wow.
Pomegranate juice, fresh pomegranate juice. Um,
Luxury. That's
that's a
luxury right
luxury.
there.
No, vitamin D, as I think people know, it's not a vitamin. It's a hormone that our body makes when we're in the sun. And I think, people who live in northern climates, perhaps it's an issue, perhaps, if they're not getting enough sun. But we live in California. We live in Lake County, which is the sunniest place. I mean, it's almost never a day that it's not sunny. I mean, in the winter, we get some rain, which is nice. But in the winter, we're in Florida where it's sunny. So we're just in the sun a lot. And we're outside every afternoon working in the garden and doing things around here. So I think a lot of people don't get enough sun. Sun is really more than is so helpful. I think it's information that comes from a cosmic level that really helps our body. Our skin is translucent, it goes right in. It helps our body enormously. And one of the worst scams, I think, is this fear of the sun and fear of getting a sunburn. I never wear sunscreen. I don't wear sunscreen. I haven't worn sunscreen in years, and we're out in the sun a lot. I just, I have a pretty dark. I mean, I'm not dark skinned. I mean, my mother was Swedish. On my other side, it's English. We're not like dark skinned, but you get like a callus, I guess. The skin gets brown, and you can take a lot of sun. So, we every day. We take a sun bath pretty much and are out in the sun. So I think that's really important. It's really helpful. Fresh air and sunshine are the most important things. And again, during COVID, they said, don't go out in the sun and don't go. They did everything the opposite. But sunshine is the source, I think, really of vitamin D.
You said something really good. They said the opposite of everything we should do. Do you think that's common in mainstream media? Everything that we should do, they say we shouldn't, and vice versa?
Right. And a lot of things that we really should be doing, they discourage
Mm-hmm.
or they don't talk about at all. And so I think, but most of the things that they're recommending are harmful, I think. I mean, I really saw that with COVID, how they were recommending, to put on a mask so you're inhaling. Our body is exhaling over 100 different gases. Many of them are really toxic, trying to get rid of ketones and other toxic gases that are part of the metabolism. And you have people just rebreathing that, and then social distancing, so we're not connecting, and then shutting down churches and gyms and clubs where we really, people, we're emotional beings. And if you make people, isolate them, that's a form of torture. All these things, and telling people they couldn't go swimming and couldn't go out into nature, and all of that. It was if you want to make people really sick, that's what you would do.
They shut down the beach here. I live in Miami. They shut down the beach. We had to go for sunrise, and then every morning the cops would come and tell us the beach is closed when they got there, and it was just so funny. Oh, it was wild, wild times. Now, the Chatty Vegan says, I have shared so many quotes from your newest book. I wish everyone would read Food for Freedom. Guys, you definitely need to read Food for Freedom, and also The World Peace Way, which is his newest book, The World Peace Way. And I'm excited to get that because I love what you shared about the 7 tenets, and how you said diet, not just the food. It's the media, the YouTube videos you watch, the things you listen to. That's your diet too. Guys, that's affecting and I want to learn more about the hypothalamus, because I don't know anything about it, but what you said, I definitely, Dr. Nels, I'm going to look up that book.
Yeah, his book is called The Indoctrinated Brain.
Ooh.
And it's a really good book. And in fact, my book, Food for Freedom, is being translated into German and published in German, and he's German, and he just agreed a couple of days ago to write the foreword for Food for Freedom.
Oh my God.
Which is amazing, because I didn't know he was vegan oriented at all, but he loves the Food for Freedom book. So I really recommend Michael Nell's book, The Indoctrinated Brain, if you really want to understand how our brains are being really kind of targeted by this, what I call the military, industrial, medical, pharmaceutical, media, banking complex, right? this whole industry that's makes money on disease and war, and they use the media in order to to do that. So
It's fascinating. Knowledge is power. It really is.
it is.
And okay, so we have a question. Why do vegans persist in believing the pharmaceutical and biotech industries who continue to exploit and torture animals? Great question.
Well,
Great question.
that's why I wrote Food for Freedom, was to address that question, because that's it. I mean, why? Like, why are they? I'm not. But what I found out was by questioning the vegans who were doing that, I found myself getting banned from ever being able to speak at vegan festivals, because they said, no, you're a vaccine denier, you're a climate change denier. So that luckily that's changing now a little bit. I'll be speaking at the San Francisco Veg Fest on November 1st, which is great. But for years I was banned there because I said, well, wait a minute. I mean, the pharmaceutical industry, they torture millions of animals. Why are we like loyal to them all of a sudden? I've known from the beginning that they're the greatest enemy, really, to healthy eating and healthy living and veganism and raw living foods. The biggest enemy is really the pharmaceutical industry. They hate that. They don't want people that are thriving and healthy. That would be bad for business. So we shouldn't be supporting them.
And another division of the pharmaceutical industry is the supplement industry. And from Anthea's book, I learned that all vitamins started with torturing animals as well. So why are we supporting the supplement industry? You see, this is all connected, and animals are suffering. And they didn't do anything to deserve this. So you got to be careful who you support with your dollars, because it just keeps it rolling, like you were talking about. Okay, we have two more questions real quick. Visquez Beach wants to know, what are your thoughts on how to detox from mold? And I'm very interested in this question as well. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think, I'm not an expert in that particular thing on mold. We live in California and it's so dry. We don't really have an issue with mold, but I know people do have an issue with that. But I've listened to some contrarians who say the issue is not mold. That's what they say, and they have more experience than I do in this. But I kind of like what they're saying. They're saying that most of these things, molds, are relatively benevolent, but there's some kind of usually is a toxic chemical involved that the mold is trying to is eating up to protect you. So there's very often in these old homes where there's mold and things, there's toxic chemicals that attract the mold. And so that's something just to be aware of. But quite honestly, I would say a basic cleansing diet would be the best thing. But I don't have too much more to say on that. Actually.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. People want to know, when are you at Hippocrates?
We're there from Christmas, right before Christmas, like December 22nd, and we'll be there all the way until about mid-February.
And do you do lectures there?
Yeah, we do lectures every week and concerts of original piano music, of uplifting piano. They have a grand piano there. So we do concerts usually every Sunday and lectures during the week. Yeah.
I'm going to come. I'm going to go. I'm about an hour.
Great.
Yeah, I'm about an hour away. And then I saw you actually. I didn't want to bother you, but I saw you at New Year's. I was there.
Oh,
and
good.
yeah. And next time I will definitely say hi. But that's so exciting. Okay, so everybody that wants to go to Hippocrates and meet Will and see him speak, that is so cool. Okay. Are there any other things you want to share about supplements? Is there any supplements you do think are necessary or that, in your opinion, vegans should be taking?
Well, I think, I think everybody has to make up their own mind on it. I have Madeleine and I both philosophically, we're kind of unique. I spent years in meditation centers, probably my whole 20s. I was a Zen Buddhist monk in Korea, just meditating for, thousands of hours. Nobody takes supplements. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just not part of reality for people in many, like in a Zen monastery in Korea. And so We come at it from the point of view that we're essentially consciousness. We're not a physical body. And when we're in harmony with nature, with our true nature, then our body knows how to recycle nutrients. It knows how to recycle things, whatever, different iodine or magnesium or this, that, and the other, whatever. And so I think, and then of course people say, well, the soils are depleted, so maybe we need them for that reason. So I guess, if someone really feels like they're missing something intuitively, maybe take it. I'm not feeling like I'm missing something, so I'm not taking something. But I wouldn't tell someone else that they shouldn't. Yes. I would just say, just be savvy. Just realize we're kind of swimming in an ocean of supplement, propaganda. And is it really true or not? And is because a lot of the people that are promoting supplements are also selling them, or they're somehow connected with selling them. Absolutely. And so we're not selling anything. I'm just, so I think maybe there's a reason for some people to take them, especially people who have maybe been eating not a very healthy diet. But, we grow our own food. We build up the soil. We really work. We try to get to know the local farmers. We eat only whole foods. We prepare them with love. Madeleine's really, such a great food preparer. We eat them, we eat mindfully without thinking about worldly things. I mean, there's so many different things that are important. Like if we're eating in a certain way that's in a meditative and loving and grateful way, I think our body just uses the nutrients a lot better than if we're just kind of eating and talking and watching TV and arguing. I think the food
standing up, eating fast.
Yeah, it's like our body doesn't really absorb it so well. So there's many levels to this, I think, and consciousness, I think, is more important than people realize.
Okay,
more important. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. And last question I want to ask you, which is my question, which is how do we know the difference between intuition and fear-based thinking? Because you have a great point where it's like if you intuitively feel like you might need a supplement, then take it. But how do we know that's our intuition versus the fear-mongering from the media?
Right. Well, the best way to know is really to undergo a regular practice of meditation so that we learn to quiet our mind. And then through that process, we begin to get a feeling for what is coming from my own inner wisdom and what is coming from just the programming on the outside. It's one of those things that it just takes time to develop that capacity. But it's a capacity we can all develop through practice. Like if I want to play the piano, I need to actually learn how to do that. And if I want to get more intuitive, then I need to practice meditation and practice the mind, how my mind works, how my attention, where does my attention go? What am I chewing on in my thoughts? And it's really that getting to know ourselves at a deeper level as a being, as a being with certain thoughts and feelings and drives and fears and ambitions, really get to know ourselves as a being. Then we have the power to discriminate. It's really about discernment and discrimination between the real and the illusory. And most people in our society, we're not encouraged to do that. We're encouraged to do the opposite. We're pressured continually to be busy, to be outer-oriented, to trust outside authorities and experts to do whatever they tell us to do. And we don't realize that we have right within us, within our own being, the ultimate authority, the ultimate great expert. It's our own true nature, our own infinite wisdom that's shining like the sun within our consciousness all the time. We're always looking outside somewhere. So, but no one can do that for anyone else. That takes practice. It takes just sitting down and being quiet. And most people don't think they have time for that. We're too busy. But the funny thing is, if I'm too busy for that, it's then I'm avoiding actually the best investment I can make, really, which is in understanding my own consciousness. It pays enormous dividends. Then we have a sense of confidence, and we realize that if I'm supposed to know something, I will know it. It'll come to me. I'll have a feeling that resonates. It's true. And we can trust that. And it doesn't have to be logical. You know, logic, sometimes it's logical, sometimes it's not logical. We don't have to only rely on logic. There's a deeper wisdom that's very often not logical at all. And it really comes back to that inner process that we can, it's like a wonderful adventure that we can go on ourselves. And then we don't need to go to a doctor. That's why I don't go to doctors. I don't take tests. I'm not attracted to someone else's opinion about something. So
I love that. That was so helpful. Thank you very much. And I'm going to leave the links below on YouTube to your books and your website, and so people can learn more about you. And thank you very much, Dr. Will Tuttle. I'm really grateful that you have stepped into your life purpose and you're doing God's work and you're doing the work that you were born to do. We need more people that are not afraid to speak the truth and not be afraid of the pushback, which eventually, as you see, people will come around again, you know, but it's scary to be
yeah,
speaking the truth because you'll be laughed at and ostracized and made to feel like there's, you know, you're wrong. There's something wrong with you for thinking. And I really appreciate you for not backing down and always speaking the truth. And it's really rare. So thank you very much.
thank you,
Thank you very
Jeanette. I
much.
appreciate it. I love what
You're
you're doing.
amazing.
And thanks, everyone, so much for watching. Thanks, Madeleine, for all you're doing. You're doing too still.
And
And yeah,
yes, thank you guys for caring about the animals, like in your heart, really, you know, and you
yeah,
guys are really vegan for the animals, and that
we
really,
are. Yeah, yeah,
it makes me
that's for
believe
sure.
in humanity. So thank you
Right,
so much.
right.
Okay, we'll
Okay.
speak soon. Thank
All
you,
right.
Will. You're
Thank
amazing.
you. Bless you.
Bye. Bye,
Thanks.
Madeline. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Bye. Thank you so much.
All
Okay,
right.
bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.